I just want to say that I'm a member of PMRS, and I'm all confused, which is, I know that Steve talked about RMS, so I'm PMRS, so I'm a Professional Marketing Research Society member. I'll just say that my background is in marketing research and communication, so I'm not going to give a presentation with all the wonderful charts and details that Steve gave us. It'll be much more simple. A bit of background and learning about communication, stage and page, if you like, that there is very low interest. We've talked in former sessions about the terms of reference being the focus point, and that probably has meant that the general public has not really engaged what this initiative is all about in terms of water source protection. They think instead that it's about water treatment, as we know, and a way to ensure that there's quality and quantity of drinking water. So as part of this outreach program, we want to be able to effectively communicate the multi-barrier solution, which includes, of course, water source protection at the watershed level. So the overall objectives of this education and outreach program are twofold. One is to create awareness and engage the general public to become more interested in water source protection. And secondly, we want to continue this momentum and to encourage continuous networking of this subject, and specifically within the 19 regions in Ontario that have been identified. And the overall objectives, we want to hold public session workshops from July of this year to February in 2010 in all of the regions in order to create, if you like, a ground-up, bottom-up discussion that is on the local level. And I will also say, just to clarify, that we are hopeful, is that the word we should use, that we will come forward with the monies. We've made an application, and we're hopeful that we're going to get it in order to do both the workshops and the film. We're also proposing to use a film as a vehicle to capture stories at a local and human level. We've heard this morning the scientific, analytical aspect of water. The film would like to do that, but also get at the human emotional of what water means to us. And again, at a local level, to be a conduit for all the water source protection committees to be able to network with each other and to create best practices on an ongoing basis. So the target audience for this initiative is a laundry list. General public, including homeowners, cottagers, local politicians and influencers, environmental, Aboriginals, fishermen, farmers, and over to the right here, primary and secondary school students. Is there anybody we left out? So the communication objective for the workshop is to educate people to be more interested in source protection. And that could have a broader definition, so I'll leave that, Andrew and Bob, up to the discussion about the fact we want to educate around more than just the water source protection. Perhaps we'll comment on that later. But basically we want to engage conversation around source protection, and also to encourage a dialogue of why water matters and what the potential threats are in each of the communities again. So,
sorry, John.
That's fine. So film, what the film's trying to do from a communication point of view is to really dig deep at an emotional level and to illustrate why water matters. So trying to get, in research, the feeling is that behavior drives attitudes, attitudes drive emotions, and at the very core of all of us, we have about 14 emotions. And that is, in fact, where we're most compelled to become engaged and excited, delighted, or not so excited about an issue, whatever it is. So we hope to be able to introduce, by doing it on a bottom-up level across the 19 regions, that water connects us all, and that when we look at water, in fact, the whole is much greater than the sum of all the parts in the 19 communities. So we'll get the story about Ontario from bottom up from 19 communities, and then be able to take it up to provincial level and hopefully national, etc. How are we going to get there? We're going to focus on communities, both municipal and non-municipal. Again, from our conversation this morning, where drinking water, quantity and quality, could be more of a community issue. So we're going to look at water and water threats in a holistic way, not just the 80% out of 100% or 60% out of 100%. The threats will be threats as people perceive them from a bottom up and not defined by any legislation. So how are we going to get there? By utilizing the Water Guardian Network to assist in identifying local partners. So we'll choose, with the help of the Water Guardian Network, a local partner in each of the 19 communities across Ontario to work with water source protection committees. And this person will be in charge of promoting the workshop in their community. So really everything from A to Z. Engaging volunteers, coordinating workshop details, finding a place, advertising it, promoting it through putting up posters in local malls or electronic media, and then setting up interviews. So if there's an expert in that area, or if there's a school group that's keen on this subject, or if there's an Aboriginal that has a particular point of view, we'll set up the interviews in advance, and the local person would do that. Okay, so the details of the workshop: half a day in each of the 19 communities, lots of time for discussion. So it's not going to be an information download. It's meant to be a dialogue, so we'll have facilitation. But we will talk about the Clean Water Act of 2006, since it's a good starting point. And we'll also talk about source protection, what it is, what it's intending to do, cover any of the threats, big threats, holistic meaning of threats in the actual community that we're facilitating with. And we'll have CELA, or Environmental Defense, a member from one of the groups here at each workshop. So there'll be some real continuity and transfer of knowledge from one workshop to the next. And we'll also, Christopher, you've got some educational material that will be disseminated before, but also at each of the workshops. Is that right?
Yeah.
And what is that exactly?
It's educational material around questions that people would have on the Clean Water Act, the straighten out points around compensation, how climate change has been integrated into the source protection process, things like that.
Okay, so general good background information for people then to be able to absorb that, go on and have a discussion. Okay, and so we're also having the local partner work with CELA and Environmental Defense and with the United Nations Association. And actually we have Lauren Alcorn, who's here. She's with the United Nations Association. And so she'll, in the discussion following this, if you have any questions with respect to this element, she'll be glad to fill us in. But basically it's to take 5 youth groups in 5 of the regions and engage youth in this discussion.